Holy Spirit, as you can tell, it's Bring Your Children to Work Day here in Tucson. That's for all the people who are protecting me and the ones who are gang stalking me. And I'm going to tell you why. As part of my political advancement dream, I want to be the type of president where the Secret Service can bring their children to work with them. When we go on overseas visits and whatnot, I want those, especially who are with me all the time, to be able to bring their families or have access to certain things. I believe in family values. As a military family member, it was hardest to watch my family member leave and come back again. As a wife, it's how we lost our connection as a husband and wife. It came back somebody different each time. And I kept pace in real time, and change wasn't an option after a while. That's to about ambition. I had an ambitious plan a very long time ago to become a nonprofit owner by way of AmeriCorps and make my way up the political hierarchy to become the United States president. It's all relevant right now because I divorced someone who's from Atlanta, Georgia, and our divorce case takes place in the same state as the president's case with Fannie Willis. Okay, so when things go missing and things get backed up and the system gets shut down, I'm the one who gets hurt. I'm what's called an injured party in this case, and not one of the defendants or the plaintiff. Does that make sense? I filed for my divorce in the state of Arizona before my ex husband did. But because my husband was in the city and state where these things were happening, that took precedence pretty much for everybody. They stopped paying attention to their jobs as individual judges and attorneys, and they became Trump appointees. And then they did Trumpian things. Now, here's where I would like to say I'm not directly blaming the president. There's a man who chose people he thought would uh, press his agenda forward. That's what you want from your political leaders. You want them to have a plan of action that can be implemented. This is my belief. The president, the one that's sitting, has always been bad when it comes to financial literacy, and that's why he's had so many bankruptcies. You see, me, I knew that's where I had to start. Financial literacy. And our billionaires, our people with money, don't understand it enough to where they have to go into bankruptcies and foreclosures. And that means the average person in this country doesn't. So my job with AmeriCorps, okay, I was a federal volunteer contracted to the state of Arizona to work with junior achievement, teaching financial literacy, and putting entrepreneurs in schools to teach children how to do things like the elevator pitch or to understand a SWOT analysis or return on investment at an early age, to understand community and finance and growth and development. Okay, these are all things that are already in alignment with who I am as a person. Forgive me for rubbing of the face and fatigue. It's just um, I've had a very long day. And as someone with wasting syndrome, um, my brain power takes up the majority of my day. Just keeping my brain going and keeping me alive. Thank God I know how longer I have to remember to breathe. But there was a time when I was so close to death because I was overworking myself that I literally could not breathe without thinking about it. Yep. Some of that is no one else's fault, but a lot of it is. I'm an autistic woman who should have never had gastric bypass surgery. And my doctor should have known these things and been able to not even suggest it to me. They should have known about other forms of treatment and therapy to help me lose the weight that I needed to be able to achieve the things that I wanted to. But cutting off my stomach from the rest of my body basically made it so that my brain and my lower half didn't communicate with, well, my brain and body didn't communicate with each other. because your stomach is the fuel that you need for your brain to communicate with the rest of you. So I've slowly learned how to heal myself, at least to be this much functional. And for other people, this is new. They haven't gotten here yet. I'm from a community of the 22 missing, and that is not the same as the 22 who take their lives. Okay? The 22 missing are the people who have bed-bound illnesses or chronic illnesses. Fibromyalgia is on that list. Lupus is on that list. MS is on that list. POTS is on that list. There are people who cannot make it from their bed to the bathroom because they experience such fatigue, and mostly it's malnutrition. They've been allowed for so long to eat specific things that they haven't had enough variety. It's the modern version of scurvy. But you could ask, a lot of them don't eat fruit. They don't get enough vitamin C. And we think by enriching under nutritionally valued food with those things, it's going to fix it. It's not. We have to do a complete course reduction. The Obamas did a decent job with the My Plate thing when they had it. It's just we need to look about how our relationship with food. Most of us use it as an emotional crutch. Um, and that was my issue. Before I could have the gastric bypass surgery, I had to learn how not to depend on food to make me feel better. They told me to find something else to cope. So I became a an obsessive cleaner. So to speak. It's kind of funny that the people who would target me would call me dirty or filthy in any way. I've got really bad OCD. I mean, it's when it's at its worst. We are cleaning the house with toothbrushes. Okay, so I say all of that to say um, my political goal and the way that I approached this was to leave a legacy of truth about me, so that no matter when you meet me in history, it will be known that I was just as human as you were. There's no pedestal to put me in. At 6 years old, I wanted to be either the President of the United States or Harriet Tubman. In some ways, I get to be both. At the same time, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I'm 50. I haven't grown up yet. My goal to be president of this country is just the beginning, not the end. I chose motherhood first so that I could be the woman I wanted my children to look for in this life. I haven't finished being that woman, so how can anyone else become her? Simultaneously, my sons know the journey. They were there with me. They reminded me recently, every step of the way. In some ways, my pain is their pain. They are the flesh of my flesh. They are the blood of my blood. And it's been a wonderful world. Now it's time for me to get back to the journey that I was on before I became a mother and the female head of a family. I haven't forgotten any of those things. And on my journey to the presidency and beyond, right, I intend to meet a man again. I know that's one of the things that the polls show when they do this, that they would rather have me either in a committed relationship or married. They're not worried about a running mate that'll come, but a single female president. We've not even had a single male president. Is something that's questionable. It's just I think that they're coming to understand why. It might be better if we did it differently. If people don't get a decision in my love life yet, what if your president was single and the people got to see your president mingle? in social settings that had absolutely nothing to do with the job. Just trying to figure out how to be human like you. Start a relationship. Yeah, no. They're not coming to the White House. This is a private residency that you'll get access to. That's because you're the public and you're supposed to. At the same time, what I do in the privacy of my bedroom is my business. So of course there'll be a cutoff. What the president does after 9 o'clock is nobody's business unless it's saving the world or the country. You dig? You should be putting your children to bed, working on your own sleep hygiene. You shouldn't be worried about me because I've made sure that you can sleep peacefully in this country. See? And your sweet little gift to me is allowing me to go slowly and finding the person that's going to fit into our needs. I'm your president, and eventually I'll be their wife, and they should be able to see what it is that I do, see me through your lens, and then decide, do you really want to be the wife or husband of the president, of the leader of anything? Do they really have enough time to give to you? Or might we even find out that it's better if our president is single and then fit someone in instead of trying to figure out how to fit it all in at once? It is. I think that opens up the world to a lot of people. It may even give me some political competition. Not that I'm disappointed in that. What's a race if you're the only one running it? That's why not white supremacy. See? I can't wait to get back to the spaces where, a little more comfortable doing this. And not everybody's in my business. So obviously, simultaneously, I do have a question for the people who are listening. Knowing that I have political ambitions and I'm obviously qualified, and that there are still people in this world who don't think that a black person should run anything, do you believe it's time for me to ask for political safety so that I can run safely? My political goal, my dream for it all, to be the type of president who can walk amongst the community the way celebrities do. That you respect and love me enough that you'd never let anybody else put their hands on me. Less need for the Secret Service so close unless we go overseas or something like that. That reduces our defense budget in a major way. My children are still off limits, as is my spouse, right? So they get Secret Service too. Yet if you respect me, then you respect them enough to give them a healthy distance. Every president before me has had the same ambition, a level of visibility and privacy, a lot of transparency and peace of mind at the same time. Obviously, my children don't have a problem being on camera. They showed up on my live stream. But we have a problem with invading the privacy as a people, and we've done it to ourselves. We gave away way too many of our privacies trying to fight against an invisible terrorist that didn't really exist. Muslims are Christians with more restrictions than Jews. That's pretty much it. When we recognize that we're all the child of the Most High God, it doesn't matter. We're all here to commit to protecting this planet from destruction. That's our one mandate. It was given to us the day that we put our bodies into existence, possibly even before we took our first breath. One of my beliefs is that We all sat up in the heavens one day and communicated with the Most High God about what we wanted to be when we got here. Part of the journey is remembering that while we're here and not getting distracted. So while I said that I wanted to be President or Harriet Tubman at 6, my spirit wanted to be President or Harriet Tubman since the existence. And when you understand that, you can also understand why people talk about past life experience. We've been recycling spirits for generations. It's my first time saying this, and I believe it's the first time in history that we can prove things. Also, the first time that we can create new cleansed spirits when we stop forcing our children to pay for the sins of their parents. When we put the blame back where it belongs and allow them to deal with the consequences of their actions. And we never again force this type of interaction where we say that someone has to be covered by the blood for the sin of theirs to be covered by another. You commit a crime, you do the time. Commensurate with whatever that crime is. See, in Islam, that's an eye for an eye. In Christianity, apparently there's time in prison. Judaism, they have their thing too. Now do you get it? Now who do we want to be as people? That's the question. Do you want to poke my eye out because I looked at you? Do you want to kill me because I had to kill someone to protect my family? Are you going to kill me because I slaughtered a pig so that I could eat? Are you going to kill me because I ate a pig and you say it's unclean? This is what we've been doing to the human being. Martyring them by stigmatizing what it is that they believe in, villainizing them for simply trying to achieve human victory. That's ambition. We've been stifling everybody because we didn't know how to take off the training wheels of those who came before us. We've known for decades, if not centuries, that oppression is a sin. We didn't know how to come back from it. It takes the strange fruit of oppression to stop it from bearing even more fruit, if that makes sense. And the way that you do that is simple, because they did it to us. So I'm going to explain. It's a little bit difficult, but you'll get it. If you take a plant, a tree, stuff, right, and you graft it to another plant, you take the flesh of my flesh and you graft it to the flesh of another human being. That human being's body will purge itself of my flesh over and over and over again in the same way as the black community is attempting to purge itself of the grafting of whiteness upon it. When we remove that old dead skin that is no longer serving our purposes, there is an underlying fresh wound that needs air to breathe and heal. This is where we tend to the wound. We make sure that it has everything that it needs so that they can heal with as little scar as possible. Surgeons would help you understand this better than I could possibly. Simultaneously, what we know and need is that that skin won't heal and we can't close that wound. It will get infected. It'll become infested and we will never be able to get rid of it without cutting out the necrotic tissue. That's where we are in history when it comes to racism as a policy of governance. It's a cancer. It's a tumor on the brain of society, which means we have to go in with the tiniest of scalpel, sharpest tools possible, even a laser, finite, minuscule cell therapy to cut out cancer at its root and stop the bleeding before it gets too profuse. That's where we are. We removed the bandages. We're cutting out the necrotic fluid, but we're finding that there's cancer cells in the body of America. We've got to purge that from our system too. That's where we eat better. That's where we exercise. That's where we unify and we solidify our willingness to fight for our rights. We resist this cancer the same way that the body does. We reject it. We create antibodies so that we are immune to the bullshit that is mental manipulation. And we never go this way again. That's how humanity moves forward. The rest of it is up to medicine and science. Because we got to figure out a way of putting this information together so that our tender agers or younger can understand. If we can start with a 6-year-old and teach them how not to grow up mean spirited, we might even be able to do it with the 2-year-old. Once we learn how not to beat up on anybody ourselves. Even I feel as though I've been beating up on some of you a little bit. That's what loving discipline is. So. It's the love of a parent to tell you when you're wrong, to praise you when you're right, and to give you your flowers when you do something extraordinary. Even if you're extraordinary every day, you give us something to aspire to. That's why it was JP, the aspiring matriarch. I was aspiring to be the best mother that I could be. The reality is, I already was. No aspiration needed. I was the mother who did the work to be the mother that I wanted to be. Now, I'm the woman who's doing the work to be the president I want to see in the office waiting for me.